Good morning.
So that doesn't make any sense. I said since no makes it, which doesn't make any.
So we're all curious about Waller. Why did he not practice yesterday, and is he out for Sunday's game?
Well, there's while trying to prevent a setback, he had a setback. So before practice, and so what does that mean? It means he's being challenged, the most eager player to play. Has another challenge, so that's I know he's up for it, but we'll I don't think he's going to play this week, which wasn't planned, but you don't. One of the things that the way I look at it is try not to with your first player that comes out of retirement, try not to have a plan that you have no experience with. So. But we'll work through it, and there it is.
Was it setback with the hip injury?
Hip strain. I'm sorry. Yeah, hip strain. Yeah, hip strain.
When did that injury originally occur?
It was that before practice Wednesday.
Before practice Wednesday. Gotcha.
Yeah. So we'd already planned not to practice him anyway. Something that we didn't know if it was what it was until we knew what it was. But we were planning for setback prevention, and he had a setback.
And what about his mindset? I'm sure he's discouraged. Is he angry or just?
No, I think he's just really eager to play with his teammates, But yeah, I think you have to look at a big picture, and I think you fail in life if you set up a script proactively. It's not about us having a pre-planned expectation of X, Y, or Z. It's how we react to it. So that's why I say it's a challenge. But this is a guy that's been made of challenges. So.
Mike, James Daniels popped up on the injury report yesterday. What can you tell us about his status?
It'll be questionable. It was just on separate from on the other foot from the Achilles, a light ankle that he's rehabbing as we speak.
Would that happen to practice?
Yeah. And it's one of those that after a season-ending injury from last year, he's practiced every single day. So this is I feel confident that he has high pain tolerance, and if he's able to play, he will.
And with Ashton Davis, is he ready to play on Sunday?
Oh, yeah. So far, so good. All right, this soft tissue stuff. You take it a day at a time, but so far so good. If it continues this way, yes, we expect him, but we got to go through today first.
How did Tanner, Connor, and Julian Hill do this off-season, preseason? Two of the players that I'm as happy with their development of things that we came in the off season with a focus, and Julian in particular with his aiming points and how he's really connected with the tackles when he's in combination with them, and his development of his route tree. And then Tanner has been here for a while and struggled with injuries, and he had played every day and had really developed his game. So I'm very happy with both those guys, and one of the reasons I feel good about the position. Will you probably have to add to the roster or elevate one of the practice squad tight ends?
I guess you're just gonna have to just wait and see. There's a couple things that we're navigating through, but I feel good with our
options that we have for this current game, and should it need to be longer than this current game, I feel comfortable with what we've discussed and our options there.
We probably have to elevate a running back to the roster or from the practice squad for this game.
Yeah, there's I've gone into games. I've gone into a Super Bowl with two running backs active. However, there's it's pick your poison really. But that happens every single week on a 48. You have to make decisions that aren't you don't totally know what the result's going to be. You just do the best decision, and the football is a game of 100% injuries, so you just take calculated risks. But there's a couple things that we're working through, and regardless, I feel confident that that on game day we'll have the best collection of individuals that can handle and sustain whatever comes our way.
Mike, I know onslaught of injury questions here, but for housekeeping purposes, Tyreek and Devon been limited throughout the week. I know you said both are expected to play, barring any setbacks. Are they still on course to play on Sunday?
Yep, absolutely.
And sorry to do this, yet another injury question. Elijah Campbell also popped up on the injury report yesterday.
He's Elijah Campbell is a guy that's tough to keep off the field anyway. He's got a he's got a great mindset, and I'm anticipating seeing him on Sunday, but he's trying to make sure of that today.
Mike, there's an NFL game tonight in Brazil. What's your take on the international schedule? You guys are obviously part of it. And would you like to see the Dolphins play in Brazil sometime, given that they're so popular down there?
I really like international games because I see it as a collective win. It is difficult on the operations and the NFL or the football team support staff. It's difficult on me, but I think for the team it's phenomenal. And really, realistically, I don't understand much about business, but if your business is successful, it has to continue to grow. So I would. It benefits me if the National Football League is successful for sure, and so I see that international games is something that more people around the world want to see our game live. It's awesome, and put us wherever.
You're 3-0 in regular season openers. Tua is 4-0. Tyreek usually has a really big game. Just what's the key to starting the regular season off on a great note?
That you actually the key is probably never thinking about that, because you think about the team you have and the decisions you have to make, and there's a lot of decisions that you're making that lead up to the first game, and I like that fact is in our favor, so to speak, but I also don't think anything that's happened necessarily before this year matters to this team. So we're gonna have to go earn and earn the hard way a win from a team that wants to win as bad as we do, and that's what's gonna come to balance this Sunday, but hopefully they see those records, the opponent, and they're just like, yeah, we stand no chance. We're just going to take a knee every play.
Mike, I don't know what stage you and Chris are in the machination process, so I'll ask you this, but obviously if you don't know yet, that's fine. You obviously need a kicker, an extra running back, and an extra tight end.
That's what I was alluding to.
Exactly, but I was going to ask you this. Have you all decided whether to fill one of those spots by creating a roster spot on the 53 by IRing Jalen Wright or Ethan Bonner? Is that a decision that you have yet? That you're
No, there's been no discussions about putting those two in IR.
Mike, when you look at strength versus strength matchups in this game, is the biggest one your front seven against their offensive line?
I think we have perceived strengths, but we're going off of preseason tape and then people's nameplates, and I think the biggest thing in week one is that there is so much going on. You just really think about it. The game, the season ends at some point for you, and then in January or February, depending on the team. And then you're thinking about this upcoming matchup for, 6 months, 8 months, however long. So there's a lot of energy. There's a lot of work that's been put in on the front end. And realistically, it's football. So the team that across the board has trained most appropriately, that has really put themselves into game scenarios in their mind on the practice field, so that the game is less of a energy jolt. It's the first time all these guys have played in front of 70,000 that are either cheering or booing your success or failure. So within that, getting the groove of playing football together on a football field, that's the biggest key, because we haven't done it for 4 quarters. No team has until this opportunity. So the guys that stay true to their connectivity of playing football together and worry less about making plays and more probably about what those things are that you have to do to make the plays. I think that's the biggest matchup, is what team can play football together in a unique circumstance as it relates to the past 6 months. We haven't had this rep yet with this team, and that's the same for all other 31. So that's what it'll come down to, I think.
Have you tweaked anything that we might find interesting Friday, Saturday, or Sunday? For this season, anything, a meal schedule, walkthrough schedule, travel schedule, just anything that might have changed?
Yeah, there's a lot that has changed. With regard to the people that you're communicating to and how you're communicating it. For me, is always my job is to give a message that the listener can receive. So that's always an adjustment. As far as the procedural stuff, I think we changed the things that we thought could give us a competitive advantage. The things that fell outside those that we really liked, such as like the time of the flights and the scheduling of the next 48 hours. The road games didn't change at all. I tweaked the schedule for home games, but this isn't a home game, so we can talk about that next week.
Kind of sticking with scheduling questions, obviously days started a lot earlier than they are now during the summer. What do you think that accomplished with your team? What kind of tone do you think that set for them as you guys look to really lock in and practice this summer?
The unintended consequence, I didn't do it for this reason necessarily, but guys were really pumped this week about how late we started install. And I was like, nice, tricked you guys, at the same time as last year, but they're like, man, we got to sleep in. This is awesome. What a great adjustment. I think that coupled with, I really wanted to challenge the team. Typically I'd always started the day off in a team meeting setting the tone. And, after OTAs, kind of decided that, for the first half, it was time for the players to set the tone on the field, and not they need to go after it and recognize how important that day was, and
the results, what they got out of it, is what they put into it, which they had the locker room had to turn each other up and make sure that this day of work, whatever day that was a good day. So I think that was an important part of how our team kind of matured together, and then to try to keep them off balance. About halfway through, I went back to the team meetings, and we didn't miss a beat, and I think it was beneficial.
Is D. Eskridge still in concussion protocol? What's his status?
He still is, but we're hopeful for a clearance today. But as of right now, he still is.
Mike, regarding officiating points of emphasis, sportsmanship is one of them this year. Do you go over that with your team, and especially because of what we saw last night, or do you let what you said previously kind of?
Absolutely. I think it's a very important part of what my job is to educate players on things that will help them be successful, as well as things that will really hurt the team. Because what ends up happening is nobody wants to get a 15-yard penalty. And when you do, you feel this small, like in the stadium, like what? And so you try to, you utilize the circumstances from other teams and the situations they're in, and you show them, and you try to educate so that you can make sure that it doesn't happen to players on your team. So that with their emphasis this year, I've gone over that at length with a direct tone numerous times. All right.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.